It's time to go out and...
Hey, boys and girls, from that nightclub at the end of the world that is at 8,000 feet in the San Luis Valley in Colorado, southern Colorado. This is Mike Ruppert. Welcome back to the Lifeboat Hour. I'm back. I needed a week off really bad. And I really enjoyed listening to Gary's show, the end of Gary's show, because he was setting up some things perfectly for the stuff that I want to talk about tonight. And it's been an amazing week. I've been really kind of catching up. As you all know, I've been through quite a few changes here in the last couple of months, and I had to get broken of a pattern that's been one with me for a long time, because I've been through a lot of hard times and a lot of tough challenges in my life. I'm kind of the last one to be able to tell me when it's time to catch your breath and take up, and I was last week in an amazing. It was my first experience in a Lakota sweat lodge with Chief Steve Blue Elk, who was also chief of the Sundance in Arizona, and we're going to talk about that more. I learned quite a bit about that, but I just want to fresh up. I've been away for a week. Carolyn Baker had a great show last week. Music was kind of messed up, but it was a good show and good stuff they talked about, and some of the stuff that was discussed when she sat in for me. Thank you, Carolyn. Is going to be relevant to what we talk about tonight. I wanted to start off, though, there's four things that really, really stick out to me this week. Canada has severed diplomatic ties with Iran and booted all the Iranian diplomats out of Canada, and I'm assuming Canada, of course, is closing its embassy in Tehran. The Canadian embassy played a critical role during the hostage crisis in 1979 and 80, during the 444 days that led to the deal that got Ronald Reagan elected and Jimmy Carter kicked out. That kind of can concern me. There are several possible ways to interpret that. It might be an escalation, or for intelligence reasons, there might be great concern that the Iranians, diplomats in Canada, were doing dangerous espionage. But my first knee-jerk reaction was that Canada was getting a pretext to get its people out of Tehran. We will know, and I've been suspecting that Barack, the bloody idiot, will be foolish enough to launch an attack on Iran before the election. I'm sure that he's a shoo-in to win. I've been at this too long, and after Ron Paul betrayed us in spite of saying all the right things, there's just no doubt that Obama has been anointed, and I am not watching a second of anything that has to do with the election. That's a moot issue. That's the system doing what it does. Second thing that has really raised my eyebrows is that Iraqi Vice President Tariq al-Hashemi has been sentenced to death. He is a Sunni Muslim. And there is major, I mean hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of people in Iraq now dead in massive bloodshed in a Shia-Sunni split, which is also something that during my last 6-7 months at CollapseNet I wrote about extensively, which is essential in order to facilitate or set up for the foolish attempt to have regime change in Syria. So things are definitely heating up on those fronts, and there is absolutely no sign of sanity. And I, agree with Gary, and this is what many of us so well know, is that this current paradigm will not be satisfied until it has destroyed itself and taken everything that it can with it. So these are concerning signs, but I kind of chuckled when I read just a few minutes ago. Britain's flagship aircraft carrier, the Ark Royal, which was mothballed a year ago, is going to be sold for scrap metal. Now, that's a positive development. There's no doubt about it. And my first thought after that was, well, geez, I wonder if that'll slow down the scrap metal thieves that are tearing Britain and every other industrialized country apart to get the metal for resale. And then the fourth thing that really concerned me this week, Gary mentioned also at the end of his show, which is that Apple is going to work hand in glove with law enforcement, the FBI, the government, and Apple will disable your iPhone so that if you witness somebody being murdered, beaten, bloodied, run over, shot, at a demonstration by the cops, Apple will be there shutting off your phone so that you can't take pictures or report about it to anybody. Actually, I view attempts to do things like that as really stupid, but it is a sign of the depravity and the absolute moral and intellectual bankruptcy of a paradigm that is dying. But these are all very concerning things, and they're very good reasons why I'm really beginning to appreciate living on a piece of land where the closest house is 300 yards away, and the closest house after that is a quarter mile away. And there's a lot of space out here in Colorado, where I am especially. And this is a very special place. That's something that's going to weave in. 2 weeks ago, I gave out the address here, and I asked you guys to write, and that was good. I got a couple letters. I'm going to read those real quick. First, I talked about Rags. Poor Rags has torn the ACL in his left knee, my wonderful, beautiful, perfect, best dog in the world. And Wednesday, he's going in to have knee surgery for a sports injury. I'm sure he'll milk that with the girls. But some of you wrote to wish Rags the best, and he really appreciated that, and so did I. I also got a letter from Gma Grandma KoKo, and I want to read this. She writes, Dear Michael, I'm writing to let you know how much I enjoy the show each week and look forward to Sunday to hear what you will say. Started listening when Guy McPherson was on. Luckily, you have changed a lot since then, now that you have left CollapseNet and are out in the country, close to the earth. It shows the love, grace, energy is stronger. Yes, I feel that too, Grandma. So sorry to hear about your loss of the land in Sebastopol. It tears the heart to have to pull up roots like that. Admire your integrity to keep on swimming in the face of all that has happened and is happening. One concern I have is about Drunvalo Melchizedek. You said he and little grandmother both stole from Mayan elders. My friends here are quite into him and Flower of Life. He's not my favorite flavor, but wanted to double check about this nature of his actions. Is your info about him still as you thought? I'll answer that now. I spoke directly with a personal representative who had authority to speak for Don Alejandro of the Mayan people. He is the senior, he's the chief Mayan elder. And I was told that, yes, absolutely, it had caused enormous friction, that footage had been taken without permission, and that Drew Melchizedek had said that he was authorized to speak for the Mayan people, which caused great offense. And I have, and especially after my experiences with Native Americans here in Colorado, which I'm going to talk about later on here, it's that old honor issue with me. Anybody that does not behave honorably, especially at the expense of indigenous people, is someone, however good they may be, I have to put aside. I have to put one rung down, because honor is integrity. It's coherence. As Rob Roy said, honor is a present you give yourself. So I'm only reporting what I said, Grandma, what I heard, but the source was very well qualified to make the statement. She has another concern about becoming more awake in the fifth dimension. Is that what it is to be called? Are you practicing and or actively traveling there, and what is your experience? No, I am not having out-of-bodies yet. I am having a lot of very interesting sensual and experiential experiences as a result of meditation, prayer, and working to develop my consciousness, which is like building muscles in a gym. And what I and many other people who seem to be on this path are noticing, and this is what we look for as signs of a changing consciousness, is amazing synchronicities. In other words, you think of somebody and you walk down the street to 20 minutes later and they're standing, or you need something and it materializes, or just when something happens, something appears that seems to answer or solve the issue. Those are the things that I'm experiencing. I'm not experiencing any foo-foo things. I'm having great meditations, and I will tell you that sitting here at 8,000 feet, with the most clear skies, free from any lights, you can see the Milky Way, but you see the stars almost in depth, like depth perception. And there is a lot of beautiful space here. And that's kind of important in spiritual practices. Holding space and how you fill space is critical. And what I'm finding is, although it's a little difficult to get used to the fact that the closest store is like 24 miles away, what you find is that what I find is that I get really, really enjoying at night and the afternoons, sometime during the day, just sitting here and enjoying all this space, which is now I am beginning to perceive filled with many, many things that I couldn't see before I got here. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, that was a nice letter. Thank you, Grandma KoKo. And I also got a couple of books and a very nice note from Art Stein. I want to thank Art for that, but it's nice of you guys to do that. If you want to write to me or Rags, that's fine. Hey, the cops were here today, so posing as people looking for houses. I'll tell you that story in a minute. But if you want to write to us here, please go ahead. Let me give you the address. It's Mike Ruppert.